The next game we're going to introduce is King of the Log. So this is where we start introducing grappling and also competition. So competition is actually fun for almost everyone. The problem is that when you're not successful enough or you don't feel safe enough, it stops being fun. And we don't have a good culture that produces that safety for people or gives them a chance for success by giving them lots of different games to play and handicapping players properly. What we found is that we can have 67-year-old grandmothers and professional MMA players playing the same game and have them both having a blast and getting something out of it. So we introduced this game because it's really safe and because it's a great place to get started. What makes it really safe is that we're only going to be manipulating each other with our hands. What makes it a place where almost everyone can be successful is that it's novel. It's not a game that you necessarily have played a lot. And by giving a balance challenge, it's hard just to organize your own body in space, which means that you're less likely to dominate another player. So we found that, even with really strong, highly developed athletes against, total novices, the novices still often are successful enough to get a lot out of this game, and almost everybody has fun doing it. So we're gonna step up onto this log. We're gonna go hand to hand. This is the only place that we have to manipulate each other, and we're gonna try to make the other person step off the log. We're on a log because of the balance challenge. You can use a curb or a rail. The big thing, of course, is you don't want the thing to be so high that when you fall off of it, you have a good chance of hurting yourself. So the goal is just to make the other guy fall off. So there's lots of little tricks to this game. I'm not really focused on teaching you guys the tricks. What I want you to see is how to play, and then what it's teaching you, what you get from practicing this, right? It's not full wrestling, it's not striking, it's not a self-defense game, but we are learning principles that apply to many other things. We're learning to read the opponent's body. Where are they strong? When we start messing around like this, we're feeling where their weaknesses are. We're learning not to overcommit. If I pull really hard, he can off-balance me relatively easily. If I push him back really hard, he can off-balance me really easily. So I'm learning that I have to keep my structure, I have to keep my center of mass when I'm manipulating another person. I have to keep some control. And I'm also learning to understand pushing and pulling mechanisms. All grappling comes down to pushing and pulling. And so I need to read when I can take an advantage by pulling on him versus pushing. And so we're going to go back and forth through these dynamics. And this is great for our physical development as well, right? If we think about pushing a heavy weight like a bench press, that's training the muscles, but it's training the muscles in a very linear way with very little communication with the nervous system. Playing games like this, we're developing strength in all of these different joint structures. And at the same time, we're learning to control the nervous system and to read another body. So it's so much richer nutrition for our nervous system than just pushing heavy weight. Not that there's anything wrong with pushing heavy weight, but this type of play is really nourishing for building physical strength that's integrated through the entire body, and then it's controlled well by the nervous system, and it's applicable to moving with another human being, which is really the type of adaptable movement that we want people to be capable of. So this basic game starts with hand-to-hand King of the Log, and eventually, we can open up our hands and we can start trying to play with other things. Maybe we'll start kickboxing on logs as we develop. But the reason that we start here is because this is a really safe way for us to start playing that allows us to be fully competitive with almost anybody and have a great time.